Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be filling out a prime number chart, also known as, you ready for this? The Sieve of Eratosthenes. I'll say that one more time because it's pretty impressive. The Sieve of Eratosthenes. Okay. So, as we break down that name a little bit, Eratosthenes is just a really cool name that we don't hear anymore. But sieve is a word that you might have heard. You might have heard it in baking or maybe in science class. A sieve is something where you separate things out. So it's kind of like a flour sifter. You might have used it for like rocks or particles or something in science. But what this sieve is going to do is it's going to separate out the prime numbers from the non-prime numbers. So let's talk about what a prime number is. A prime number is a number that is divisible only by 1 and itself. So an example of a prime number would be 3. If you think about the numbers that go evenly into 3, well, you can divide it by 1 or you can divide it by 3. Anything more than 3 would be too big, and 2 does not go evenly into 3. So that would not give you a whole number if you try to divide. So the prime numbers are just the ones that divide by 1 and themselves only. Okay, if they divide by anything else, they are not prime numbers. An example of a number that's not prime would be 10, for instance, because 10 you can divide by 2 or 5. Right? There are numbers other than 1 and 10 you can divide them by. We call numbers like that composite numbers. Okay? Now, as we go forward in this unit, being able to identify what numbers are prime and what numbers aren't becomes pretty important. Not only are prime numbers kind of a big deal in math, but we're going to see over the next unit or so how they're used to really build all the other numbers, kind of like Legos. Okay, so we'll talk more about that when we get to GCF and LCM in the next couple of days. Right now, we're going to focus on how to figure out how many prime numbers there are between 1 and 100. So I want you to take a second before we start this process and make a guess. So out of these first 100 numbers, how many of them do you think are prime? Okay. Write your guess down somewhere or remember it really well, and after this, we'll see how close you were. All right, so here's how the sieve works. We first need to fill out our key. So our key here is going to tell us what numbers are divisible by what. So for 2's, what we're going to do is we're going to use a blue line. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to the left side, click on Shapes. Okay, we're going to choose Line. And for our thickness, let's set it at a 4. 4 is a nice, good thickness that we can use for our purposes here. Okay, so we're going to use a blue line. So have your line selected, have it on thickness 4, and then we're going to select from our colors. We're going to select the blue. Okay, so the line we're going to draw, the color and the direction are going to be important. So for this one, I'm going to draw a blue line going from the bottom left to the upper right. So on your key, please draw a line going from the bottom left to upper right. Okay. For 3, we're going to use the color green. So let's change this to green. And we're going to draw a line on the other diagonal, going from the upper left to the bottom right. Okay. Didn't do great. Remember, we can always erase if we need to. I think I can do a better job with that line. Okay, so upper left to the bottom right. Okay, for 5, we're going to want to use red. So let's pick red. And we're going to do a horizontal line like that. Okay, and lastly, for 7, we're going to do yellow. And we're going to do a vertical line. All right, so we get this filled in. For prime numbers, what we're going to do instead of coloring them is we're going to circle them. So click on the Insert Ellipse, which is the circle is a kind of ellipse. And we're just going to draw in the circle. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back that up. We don't want our circle to be colored any particular color. So when I choose circle, we're also going to change our color back to black. And then we're going to circle whatever number is in that box, like that. Okay, if it's neither prime nor composite, there's a couple numbers that are neither one. We're going to leave those blank. All right, once you got those filled in, we're going to start with our 2's and then go on. So these 4 numbers here are the first 4 prime numbers. These are the first numbers that are divisible only by 1 in themselves. So we're going to start with these, and then I'll show you how to use the sieve. So we want to get to our blue, because we're going to be using blue. We're going to be drawing blue lines. Actually, no, sorry, we're going to do a circle before that. So leaving it on circle, black selected, we'll go up, and any prime number we're going to circle. So 2 is a prime number, so I'm going to start by circling it. Okay. Once you have it circled, we're going to take our blue marker, and we're going to draw a diagonal line through all the multiples of 2. Right? Because remember, to be a prime number, it can only be divisible by 1 in itself. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to cross off all the numbers that could be divided by 2. Because if they can be divided by 2, then they're not prime numbers. Okay? So 4, oh, I'm still on circles. I want to be on lines. Good thing I have that eraser. Okay, go back to line. So 4 is not a prime number. 6 is a composite number. 8 is a composite number. 10 is a composite number. So it's 12. Okay, and you're going to keep going. I'm going to stop there, but you would go through all the charts, the whole chart, and to be crossing off every multiple of 2. That's every even number. Okay. Once you've done that, we're going to go to our next number. And the way this sieve works is when you get to the next number, if it's not crossed off already, that means it's a prime number. Okay, so we know that 3 is a prime number. I'll select a circle, make it black, and I'm going to circle 3. Okay, so 3 is another prime number. But now I'm going to go through and I'm going to use green, a diagonal this way for green, to cross off all the multiples of 3. Okay, so I'm going to select a line. I'm going to get my green. And then 3 was prime, but every third number. So 6 I'm going to cross off. Notice 6 has 2 lines through it because it's a multiple of both 2 and 3. Right? And that's okay. You're going to have some of those. Okay, 9 is a multiple of 3. Why did that draw? Okay, 12 is a multiple of 3. 15. So every third number I'm crossing off. All right, so you skip 2 and then cross 1 off. All right, and then you would keep going. Okay. All right, so continuing on, once I've gotten all those done, I see 4 is crossed off. That tells me it is not a prime number. 5 is not crossed off. So when you get to it, it's not already crossed off. You know that this is a prime number. So I'm going to circle it. Use the black circle. Okay, and then I'm going to cross off all the multiples of 5. Now for 5, I'm using a red line, a horizontal red line. So I go back to my line. I'm going to make it red. I'm going to cross off every fifth number. So 5 is good, but 10 is a multiple of 5. 15 is a multiple of 5. 20. 25. You would keep going from there all the way through the chart. Okay. All right. Once we got 5's done, 6 is already crossed off. 7 would be our next number. That's a prime number. So I'll go back to black. Make it a circle. I'm going to circle 7. Okay, my color did not change, so let's erase that. Hopefully yours is being a little less glitchy than mine. All right, so let's try black is the color. Draw a circle. Number 7. That was not what I was trying to do. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so I got 7 circled, and then for 7s, I'm going to use a vertical yellow line. So let me pick yellow, go to a vertical line. I'm going to cross off every multiple of 7. So counting by 7s. Okay, 2 times 7 is 14. Draw a line there. Okay. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 21 is 28. You keep going, cross off all the multiples of 7. Okay. Once you've done this, I see the rest of the row is already crossed off, which means once we get to 10, we have crossed off all the numbers that are not prime numbers in the entire chart. So your job then is to go through anything that's not crossed off. You're going to circle. Let's get back to your black circle and draw a circle as anything that's not crossed off. Once you've done that, you'll have circled all the prime numbers up to 100. Count them, see how many there are, and see how you did with your guess. All right, good luck.